Dad, I had just come out from my part-time job at the bar when a little cannonball suddenly rushed out and hugged my legs. I looked down and saw the cute smiling face of a 4-year-old kid. "Let go of me," I said coldly. The kid's face instantly wrinkled up. "Dad, how could you talk to me like this? You've hurt baby's feelings. I'm not your dad. Where are your parents at this late hour, leaving you alone outside the bar? It's really irresponsible," I said in a serious tone. I looked down at the time. There were only half an hour left until the dormitory curfew. Then I asked the suddenly appeared little kid, "Do you remember your family's phone number? Tell me, and I'll ask them to come pick you up." But after I said that, the little kid burst into tears right on the spot. "Dad, how could you be like this? Don't you want to recognize baby anymore? Don't you love baby anymore? Dad, you clearly said you'd love me forever." I'd just been chewed out by the bar owner, and I was in a terrible mood. With a frown of impatience, I explained, "One more time, I don't have a kid. I'm not your dad." The little kid cried even louder, banging his head against my thigh while shouting, "Baby is your child. You're my dad." In the subway, I looked down at the little kid sitting on my lap. He had stopped crying, and his eyes and nose were all red. I frowned tightly. 10 minutes ago, this little kid was hugging my legs outside the bar, crying his eyes out and still calling me dad. His behavior attracted everyone's attention. People said it was really inappropriate for me to bring a child to the bar and told me to soothe him and take him away quickly. In that situation, I had no choice but to pick up the child and leave the bar. The little kid skillfully buried his wet face in my chest. I'm not someone who likes kids, and I even hate the crying of children. But at this moment, I somehow raised my hand and gently patted his back, and his sobs gradually stopped. "So, tell me, why do you keep calling me dad?" There were not many people on the last subway of the night. In my carriage, there were only me and the kid on my lap. The little kid opened his red and swollen eyes, sniffed his little nose, and with some difficulty but still clearly told me the strange thing that had happened to him. "Let me get this straight. You're 4 years old, and you traveled here from the future as soon as you pushed open the door to my bedroom. You're my son, born when I was just 23. Even though I'm usually calm and composed, I couldn't help but be startled after hearing what the little guy said. "Yeah, baby's 4. Baby was born to daddy. You're my daddy. My name is Levi, and your name is Daniel. We're father and son. So daddy, you can't abandon me." I looked at the accusing and pitiful eyes of the little guy and fell into a long silence. I recalled that when I first saw the kid, there was no one around. Then, in the blink of an eye, he suddenly appeared. Fortunately, I was the only one there at the time. Otherwise, how could I explain a child appearing out of thin air? A spooky incident? Well, the truth was pretty much the same. I took a closer look at the little guy's features. He did bear some resemblance to me, considering that he knew my name clearly. Somehow, I believed what the kid said, but I'd still have to get a DNA test someday to be completely sure. I asked a question that anyone in my situation would be curious about. "What's my future wife like?" The little guy wiped his nose with my clothes, then looked up with bright eyes and said, "Your wife is rich, tall, and handsome. She often makes all kinds of delicious food for daddy and baby. A good wife and loving mother. That sounds like a good life." I started to look forward to the future a little. As for that character adjective usually used for men, I just thought the kid was too young and used the wrong word. Although there were 4 beds in the dorm, I lived alone, so I wasn't worried that bringing my future son back to the dorm would bother anyone else. "Levi, are you hungry?" I put the child on the bed and asked him. Levi nodded sweetly, softly correcting me to call him Levi before answering. "Daddy, baby's hungry. Wants fish noodles. Guess your taste's the same as mine, but the cafeteria's already closed at this hour. We can't get the fish noodles just yet. How about you start with some bear-shaped crackers to tide you over? The noodles will be here in about half an hour." "Sound good," I said. The kid was pretty understanding and just said, "Sure thing, Dad." Maybe it was the blood connection, or how well-behaved the little guy was, but my heart felt all warm and mushy. I gently ruffled his fluffy hair, then dug out a pack of bear-shaped breakfast cookies from my cabinet, tore it open, and handed it to him, while the kid sat on the bed, belly rounded from eating and kicking his short little legs lazily over the edge. I opened my food delivery app for the first time in ages and ordered fish noodles from a a highly rated spot. Then I opened the Matewan supermarket app and ordered Levi a disposable toothbrush and a set of clothes. Just enough to get through tonight. I'd take him to the mall tomorrow afternoon to properly pick out a few better sets when I had time. I'm off to take a shower. Levi, you stay here and eat your cookies. Okay. I left some water right here. Drink if you're thirsty, and just yell if you need me. I poured a cup of warm water, grabbed a stool and placed it beside the bed, then set the glass on top. The kid froze, then tilted his head up with a sweet, innocent grin. Dad, I get it now, you're just like the 27-year-old version. Cool. I smirked, flicked his forehead with my fingertip, then turned and grabbed my towel and change of clothes before heading to the bathroom. Worried about leaving the kid alone, I rushed through my shower. When I came out, Levi had already put down the cookie and was guzzling water like a little calf, head down, gulping noisily. The kid was already half full, and the food delivery still had over 10 minutes to go. I pulled the kid onto my lap, curiosity sparking again. Levi, you know how your mom and I first met? Levi furrowed his brows for a moment. After thinking back, he said, Dad said you two met in college. One of you was the president and the other was a committee member. I don't know what happened after that. I can kinda see having a future wife at the same school. But wait, wasn't the president a guy? The vice president's actually a girl. Kid probably missed a word there. Running the vice president's face through my mind. Just a glimpse I'd seen before. She was a striking girl, tall and elegant, clearly from a well-off family. Honestly, I'm just as shocked that someone like her could actually be into someone like me. Perfect. There's a big student council meeting tomorrow morning to go over the upcoming 100th anniversary school celebrations. I'll grab her private WeChat, shoot the breeze a bit, build some rapport. If it goes well, maybe I can even have her meet Levi. Whatever, we're gonna be family anyway. I got up in the morning and headed to the cafeteria to grab a fresh, steaming meat bun and soy milk for Levi. After he obediently finished eating, I crouched down and told him, Levi, Daddy has to go to class now. You stay in the dorm and watch cartoons. Okay. Wait for me to come back with lunch. Levi obediently agreed, his small voice soft and sweet. Before heading out, Levi planted a kiss on my cheek just like last night, then, sounding all grown up yet adorably childish, softly reminded me, Daddy, if you understand the lecture today, great. If not, just think of your baby. Drink water when you're thirsty, eat little crackers when you're hungry, and don't be too hard on yourself. Okay. Baby will be waiting for you to come back. What the hell, kid, total role reversal much? 2 morning classes. Just the ones where you've got to stand up and shout here when your name's called for roll call, then straight off to the conference hall for a meeting. Just finished class and rushed to the multimedia auditorium, barely finding a seat when right after me, Student Council President Jack walked in and announced the meeting was officially starting. Now, Jack, this guy, total legend, comes from serious money. Dropped a fortune to fund a luxury-grade library for the school, good-looking and a top student. While most of us were scrambling to land internships or cramming for civil service and grad school exams in junior year, this guy was already launching his own tech startup and became CEO right after it went public. He's way ahead of his peers in every single aspect. Flat out inspiring envy. No joke. This time the vice president didn't show up at all, and I couldn't help but feel a tiny bit let down. Jack stood on the podium, speaking with crisp precision, his voice clear and pleasing to the ear. I started idly sizing him up. Sharp, well-defined features with smooth, striking contours. Standing there in a white top and black pants, he was the textbook campus novel lead. Wonder who'll end up being the leading lady in his story. Just as my mind was racing, I locked eyes with a pair of dark, slightly upturned ones. A sudden wave of familiarity hit me out of nowhere. Before I could make sense of anything, a voice laced with amusement cut through the air. Daniel, the officer from the propaganda department, repeat the precautions I mentioned just now. In an instant, every thought in my head vanished. Scared off by Jack's simple remark, I stood up, stammering for what felt like forever without getting a word out, and nobody nearby dared prompt me. Too afraid of getting dragged into the mess, Jack said flatly, without a hint of surprise or room for argument. All right, play by the rules, either take a pay cut or copy the meeting code of conduct. You pick. I gritted my teeth and spat out, copy the code of conduct. Come on, student council staff only get $100 a month. Half of that gets docked, and I'm already hurting. Jack nodded in understanding. Then go copy Article 16 of the meeting guidelines 500 times, bring it straight to my office tomorrow, and don't forget to number each one. I'll be checking carefully. I sat down, my face pale with embarrassment. For the next half hour, I didn't dare zone out once. With me as a cautionary tale, everyone in the room had no choice but to focus intently on the president's speech, scribbling notes nonstop. The moment Jack dropped a simple meeting adjourned, everyone let out a collective breath. After everyone gradually left, I walked over to Jack, who had stepped aside to take a phone call right after the meeting ended and just now returned to grab his notebook. President, I called out to him. Jack lifted his gaze and looked over, asking mildly, "Got something you want to ask me?" I nodded. "If you're hoping I'll go easy on you, forget it." My lips twitched. I'd originally planned to, but not anymore. "No, that's not it. Can you just send me the vice president's private WeChat? I heard they're actually cousins, you know." Jack raised an eyebrow, surprised, and teased. "Trying to hit on someone?" My face flushed slightly. "Yeah, I want to become family with her." Future brother-in-law's eyes swept over my face before a faint, knowing smirk tugged at his lips. "Honestly, guys like you, pretty boys, aren't her type at all. I'd never let you become my brother-in-law. But hey, if being part of the family is what you're after, well, that wish could still come true." Not a chance. What the hell is he talking about? I don't understand a word. He doesn't approve of me, yet he says we can be a family. What on earth is he talking about? As my mind was still reeling, a chubby little kid came sprinting into the conference hall, throwing his arms around my leg and then Jack's, shouting joyfully, "Daddy! Big Daddy! Our family of 3 is together again. Baby's so happy." "Levi, what the hell are you doing here? You're just a damn kid." "Wait, Dad? Big Dad? Are we a family of 3 or something? Where the hell did you just take me?" I froze, my neck swiveling stiffly, utterly thrown. How the hell did this kid just drop several giant question marks on me? "Look, kid, look at Chi Shuan." Jack, just as baffled and mentally checked out as I was, mirrored my exact expression. "Hey kid, look at me." Our eyes locked, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Staring at Jack's faintly furrowed brow, a sudden thought struck me like a lightning bolt. My heart pounded as if I just unlocked some long-lost truth. Half crouching, I cupped the little kid's soft, pale cheeks in my hands, frantically and meticulously comparing his face with Jack's. Half a beat passed, my eyes blazing with fury. No wonder Jack's eyes looked so familiar. He totally stole him from my kid, and to top it off, the little brat even copied the kid's nose. Unforgivable, I tamped down my turbulent emotions, scooped up the chubby kid with one arm, and gave Jack a calm, easy smile. He's always latching onto good-looking guys and calling them dad. Don't take it personally. I wanted to sweep it under the rug, but the original and the copy had other plans. "Daddy, baby's not just any baby, he's Big Daddy." I quickly pinched the little traitor's mouth into a duck-like pout. The kid let out a whiny whimper, then, seeing I was ignoring him, started squirming in my arms, huffing and puffing his little body in protest. I almost dropped the big baby when a devilish whisper hissed, "Keep squirming and yelling like that, and your broke 19-year-old dad will sell you online. Sweet little thing like you? Those creepy aunties who roam around with burlap sacks, looking for kids to snatch, yeah, they'd pay top dollar. One sale, guaranteed hit." The little one instantly went quiet, blinking those 2 big, shiny grape-like eyes at me, as if silently pleading, "I'll be good, don't sell me." I finally grinned in satisfaction. Now this is the good boy Dad likes. The little one settled down, lifting his eyes to look at the grown-up. "Sorry, Daniel, I kinda took it personally." Jack's eyes crinkled slightly at the corners as he gazed deeply at me, his tone a mix of amusement and quiet intensity. I chuckled, my eyes gleaming with a mischievous spark. "So what you're saying, Prez, is you want to be my kid's honorary godfather? Daniel, you became a dad so young." Jack shot back, dodging the question with one of his own. I shifted my hand from pinching the kid's mouth to gripping his chin, pressing my face against his soft little cheeks and blurting out with a grin, "Bought him online, just got him today. His name's Levi. Tell me, don't we look like father and son?" "Yeah, they do look alike." Jack eyed the 2 faces pressed close together. like a child's version and an adult version of the same person. The younger one looking about 3 or 4 years old, with calm detachment, knuckles twitching, eyes darkening slightly. You got a girl pregnant and had a kid when you were just 15? Don't look at me like that. I'm not some creep. I'm still a pure, untouched virgin. Okay? I blurted out in my defense. Yeah, we look like father and son, but he's actually my cousin's kid. Just family helping family. Truth is, I've got no family. My relatives are as good as strangers, so I am my own next of kin. The kid's naturally mine too, so in a way, I didn't exactly lie. Just to be safe, I rattled on. Something came up. No one's around to take care of the kid, so I've got to raise him myself. And if I'm raising him, it's only right he calls me dad. Don't you think? Levi? I gave Levi's squishy cheek a little pinch and asked him. The little kid chirped in his soft, babyish voice. Daddy's right. Baby wants daddy to take care of me. Then he tilted his little head up and gave Jack a warm, sweet smile. Big daddy, want to help dad take care of me? I'm super well behaved. Really, 1 second of distraction, and the little squirt's already trying to sell himself. Fine, whatever, but now he's dragging me into it too. Well behaved? If he were well behaved, he wouldn't be here. Never mind how the kid got here from the dorm. When I really thought about it, Levi had a point. With me constantly juggling part-time jobs every other day, plus being a sophomore myself, raising a little human, yeah, that was gonna be tough. I immediately dropped my earlier hesitation about letting Jack get close to the kid. There was no denying the boy bore a slight resemblance to him. Maybe it was because Jack and my future vice chairwoman wife were cousins. Kids always take after their uncles, you know. As for why the kid doesn't call Jack uncle, but instead calls him Big Dad, I couldn't be bothered to figure it out. After all, it's just a nickname. With that thought, I felt myself relax and tilted my head up at Jack, blinking innocently. President, look how cute and well-behaved my kid is. Want to co-parent him? You seemed into being his godfather earlier. How about we just seal the deal now? Jack gazed at the two grinning faces, their smiles as bright as sunshine, and chuckled softly. Sure, why not? Straight to the point. I unceremoniously dumped the chubby kid into Jack's arms and slung my arm around his shoulders like we were old buddies. Leaning in close to his ear, I whispered in a conspiratorial tone. Hey, President, since we're basically family now, how about skipping those 500 copies? The kid'll worry about his dad. You know, I added with a grin, turning to Levi, the kid who just latched onto his new dad like an overexcited puppy, nuzzling his face into Jack's chest. Levi, tell him I'm right, won't you? Levi wrapped his arms around Big Dad's neck and leaned up to plant a quick, practice kiss on Jack's cheek. Yes, baby loves daddy so much, he said. Big Daddy, please don't make daddy copy, okay? Jack felt the warmth on his shoulder and in his arms, and for some reason, the scene struck him as strangely natural. Seeing Jack silent, I pulled out my ultimate move. Hands pressed together, gave him a pitiful, pleading look. Please, Your Honor, I'm begging you. That move. He'd seen girls use it on their boyfriends in videos before, and damn, it actually worked. Dad sings, son follows. Levi clasped his two chubby little hands together, looking up at his big dad with puppy dog eyes and a wobbly, sweet voice. Big Daddy, baby's begging you too. Jack had only zoned out for a few seconds when the 1-2 punch of Big Cutie and Little Cutie completely disarmed him. He ruffled the kid's tiny head, laughing softly. All right, I'll let you off the hook. I instantly dropped the cute girl act, balled up my fist and punched Jack in the arm. Dude, you're killing me. So not cool, he pressed on, shamelessly pushing his luck. Come on, just send me the vice president's WeChat, please. Jack gave me a long, amused look before turning to his freshly acquired, still warm son with a grin. Son, he asked playfully, should we give your dad someone else's WeChat or what? Levi blinked his eyes and said, big people stuff? Don't really get it, okay? Jack explained carefully. Giving your dad your aunt's WeChat means he's gonna start chasing after her, and then he'll leave the two of us behind. Do you agree with that, sweetie? Levi wasn't having it, glaring at me furiously. No way. Daddy can't leave his husband and kid behind. And absolutely no being some nasty third wheel. Wait, is this right? Leaving your husband and child behind? Oh, a nasty little homewrecker? What the hell kind of channel did I just stumble into? Just as I was about to ask the little brat what he really meant, an adorable growl cut through the air. Dad, I'm hungry. Third floor of the school cafeteria. Here, reward my good big boy with a nice chicken leg. I plopped a steaming, juicy chicken leg into Levi's little bowl and urged him to dig in. Levi stared at the chicken leg in his bowl, nearly half his face in size, and scrunched his brows into two wiggly caterpillars. Me? Come on, eat up. Weren't you hungry? Levi pouted, his eyes shifting to Jack, who had just returned with the soup and sat down beside him. His little chubby hand pointed at the giant chicken leg in the white porcelain bowl. Big Daddy, Jack's gaze dropped to the chicken leg, and it instantly clicked. Yeah, Daddy Jack gets it. Sitting to the side, I froze as if struck by lightning, then blurted out indignantly, Levi, how could you give away the big chicken leg your dad carefully picked out for you? Your dad is very disappointed in you. Levi's little face tensed up, but before the kid could even speak, Jack chuckled and said, Daniel, you've got it wrong. Levi's still just a toddler. Eating a whole drumstick isn't easy for him. I'm breaking it into smaller pieces so he can eat properly. Saying this as he moved Levi's bowl, chicken leg and all, in front of himself, then carefully picked out the bones with his chopsticks, tearing the tender meat into small, bite-sized pieces perfect for a little kid. Guess I wasn't thinking straight. It clicked that I'd totally misunderstood, and I awkwardly went, oh, rubbing Levi's pouty little cheek. Sorry, buddy. Dad got it wrong. If I mess up in the future, just tell me straight. No need to bother someone outside the family. Levi huffed. Big Dad's not a stranger. Hearing this, Jack, who was standing nearby, curled the corner of his mouth slightly. Obsidian eyes shifted toward me, holding my gaze. Levi's right, you know. I'm not an outsider. We're family. Don't you agree, Daniel? I thought about it. Turns out, I was the one being narrow-minded. As the brother of my future wife, he really does qualify as family. So I nodded and replied, yeah, we're family. My dear brother-in-law. The whole meal through, Jack took care of the kid like he was the actual dad. Way more attentive and thorough than I ever was. After wiping the grease from Levi's mouth with a napkin, he suddenly instructed me, Daniel, lift your head up. I found myself instinctively going along with it. Then, suddenly looking up, I felt a long, cool, pale finger gently brush away a stray grain of rice from the corner of my mouth, smeared there from eating too fast. It wasn't until Jack calmly pulled his hand back, and Levi stifled a giggle behind his chubby fingers, that I finally snapped out of it. What on earth had just happened? That smooth move, wait, is he treating me like that kid Levi now? The moment I remembered that fleeting, cool brush of contact, my ears suddenly burned red for no reason. Man, why is it so hot all of a sudden? Did Jack just smear something weird on my lips instead of a grain of rice? I didn't dare to look at Chishujun once, not even as we left the cafeteria and walked all the way to the dorm entrance where we finally parted ways. After saying goodbye to Jack, I turned to head upstairs with Levi, when suddenly his voice called out my name. Daniel. I stopped in my tracks and turned around. What's up? Jack closed the distance in a couple of easy strides, standing right before me. Dark, tousled bangs falling over his sharp brows, smiling that effortlessly charming smile. Add me on a private contact, he said smoothly. Wouldn't want to miss the chance to hang out with you and Levi again sometime. All right then. In the end, staring at Jack's satisfied retreating figure and then down at the new contact sitting in my WeChat list, I felt a strange daze wash over me. Didn't get the vice president's private contact, but somehow ended up with the president's. Got the big brother-in-law on board. How long before I land the future wife too? Back in the dorm, I plopped the little brat onto a stool and launched into full-on interrogation mode. I was both annoyed and weirdly impressed when I found out the little shorty had lost interest after watching just a few episodes of his cartoon, then used my pillow and blanket as stepping blocks to reach the doorknob and let himself out. Oh, real clever, huh? Using what your old man sleeps with as a footstool. After pinching Levi's cheeks into a messy squish and finally letting go, I sternly pulled my face taut. Levi, from now on you're not allowed to wander off alone. It's dangerous. If some bad person snatches you on the street, you won't ever see me again, and Dad will worry himself sick over you. Got it. Levi rubbed his flushed cheeks and nodded obediently. Daddy, baby was bad. Baby won't run off again. Now that the kid was dealt with, I finally had a moment to ask the question bugging me. Why do you call Jack Big Dad? Shouldn't you be calling him Uncle? 'Cause Big Daddy's just Big Daddy. Why should I call him Uncle? Kid's a damn genius when he shouldn't be, and clueless when it actually matters. Staring into the kid's confused eyes, I took a deep breath. Let me ask you this. Who told you to call him Big Dad? Could it be that Jack, seeing how adorable the kid is, wants to be his dad and deliberately had him call him that? Levi replied, Big Daddy told me to. I knew it. All my fault for having a son so damn charming people are lining up to play daddy. In a way, I've got serious charm. I mean, kids usually take after their old man, right? I cleared my throat, fighting hard to suppress the smirk tugging at my lips, then continued, turning to Levi. All right, what did you mean by that bad third-party comment earlier? Where on earth did a little squirt like you even hear that term? And do you even understand what a third party is before throwing it around? The kid puffed up angrily. I know what a third party means. In Grandma's TV drama, that woman said, Leo, Michael's already married me. Keep chasing him like this and you're just a homewrecker, a third wheel. And Grandma immediately yelled, Leo's a bad third party. Too lazy to correct the messy family titles spilling out of Levi's mouth. I raised an eyebrow and said, so what? Leo's the homewrecker, but I'm not Leo, and definitely not a homewrecker. Levi shot me a look, indignant. Grandma says anyone like Leo, who chases after someone already married, is a bad homewrecker, the worst kind. So if Dad goes after cousin Auntie, you'd be a bad homewrecker too. My jaw dropped, and I stood there speechless for a good long moment before finally catching my breath. You little brat, what's with the nasty mouth? Calling someone a homewrecker like that? Don't push me, or I'll smack your behind. Oh, and just so we're clear, if I hadn't gotten together with your cousin's mom, you wouldn't even exist. Besides, she doesn't seem to have a boyfriend right now anyway. So going after her? Not illegal, not immoral. Levi's round face was full of shock and confusion. Dad, of course Auntie wouldn't have a boyfriend, and anyway, I was born from you, so what does it have to do with you and Auntie being together? Listening to the kid's clueless, childish remarks so lacking in basic biology, I just laughed it off. Forget it, arguing adult stuff with a half-clueless kid. What's the point? I tapped his little forehead. All right, finish your meal and get some rest. This afternoon Dad's taking you to the mall to pick out some new clothes and shoes. Since Levi was still young and I was just a broke college student, I couldn't always be around to take care of him. So while I was off to class and working my part-time gig, Jack, the man with zero responsibilities, volunteered to take the kid out for some fun. Just to be safe, I gave Levi a serious talk. Listen, kiddo, don't tell anyone. Anyone that you're from the future. Not even a word. If you do, some weird people might come and take you away. They could slice open your brain, and if that happens, you'll never see me again. Levi was young, but he could tell this was serious. He held up his hand like he was swearing an oath. Dad, I got it. Promise, I won't ever tell anyone else. I let out a breath, finally at ease. With Levi around, Jack and I naturally got closer over time. But when it came to questions about the vice president, he clammed up again. You got a sister complex or something? Worried I'm gonna steal her away? If Jack ever found out his sister was gonna have a kid with me in the future, he'd probably spit blood and pass out on the spot. With the unshakable belief that we'd end up together anyway, I saw no point in making things harder on myself. So I stopped asking my brother-in-law about the vice president. Another afternoon to evening class schedule for me, so Jack took Levi out to play. During break, Jack sent me a few photos. I opened it. First few pics were of Levi playing on the slide and stacking blocks at the mall. Last one was a red and black striped tie tag $2,000 on a shelf. What's the meaning behind this? Showing off or trying to hint at something? I saved the kid's photo and shot a question mark over to him. Jack, this tie looks great. Jack, but it looks best tied around your wrist. For a split second, my skin crawled with goosebumps. Whoa, bro, what are you planning to do to me? Not sure what to say, so I just sent back a weirdly smirking emoji. Jack. Got out of class yet? Me. Is Levi staying over at my place tonight? Fine, I get it. Tomorrow noon, I'll go pick him up. You don't need to come over. I'll drive him there myself. Levi mentioned you've been going on and on about wanting those egg tarts from that shop on Maple Forest Road, so I'll grab some tomorrow and bring them to your dorm. This past month, Jack's been treating me to meals constantly. No matter how many times I refused, he wouldn't take no for an answer, so I just gave in and accepted it. If I weren't a guy, I'd swear he was hitting on me. Next Saturday's my birthday. Got any plans? I'd love it if you and Levi could come. Don't bring anything, though. Just before class was about to start, Jack sent me this invite. As if I wouldn't make time, of course I was free that day. Even if I were busy, for the sake of our friendship, especially since he's always helping out with the kid, I'd make damn sure to be available. Plus, it's Jack's birthday. His close younger sister would naturally show up. Maybe this time I'll finally get to chat with the vice president and snag her contact info. I replied, got it, I'll be there. Just send me the address later. Jack said he didn't need me to bring a gift, but showing up to someone's birthday party empty-handed? No way. Yeah, I'm not exactly rolling in cash, but I'm not broke either. I can still afford a decent gift for the kid's godfather. After getting out of the shower that night, I video chatted with Jack and Levi, then flopped onto bed, racking my brain trying to figure out what gift to get. Something within my budget, yet classy enough to impress, and something Jack would actually like. After 2 hours of overthinking, just as I was about to drift off, Jack's photo of that red and black tie from earlier in the afternoon suddenly popped into my head. Talk about failing to see what's right in front of me. He said it looked good. Doesn't that just mean he liked it? The next day, I casually wormed it out of Jack that he hadn't bought the red and black striped tie after all. Jack's 22nd birthday party was coming up fast. The Chi family was huge and wealthy, so of course the birthday bash for their golden boy wasn't going to be some small, low-key deal. That day, Levi and I were picked up by the private driver sent by Jack. As we got out of the car, I saw luxury vehicles lining the villa's entrance, and men and women stepping out in dazzling jewelry and stylish outfits. I'd mentally prepared myself, but still my breath caught in surprise. Man, the rich really live in a whole different world. The villa was huge and incredibly luxurious, not a trace of tackiness anywhere. Everything styled with impeccable taste. I was taking it all in, wide-eyed and new to the place, when the little guy beside me grabbed my hand and chirped excitedly, "Daddy, let's go find Big Daddy fast. Baby misses him so much. We see each other almost every day, yet I still miss him like crazy. Jack's just that good. Guess that's why he's always on my mind." I scooped Levi up in one swift motion. Man, only a month and he's already put on a few more pounds, all fed by Jack. I couldn't resist giving the little guy's chubby but a gentle pinch and whispered, "All right, Daddy's taking you in now." I had originally planned to just follow the crowd, but then Levi pointed toward a more secluded path and said confidently, "Dad, let's go this way. There's a pebble trail here that'll get us to the hall super fast." Judging by the tone, he's definitely going to be showing up here a lot more in the future. I followed the little commander's orders and headed down that path. We made it smoothly to the main reception hall, and the moment I put Levi down, the little guy spotted something. His short legs went pitter-patter, crisscrossing in a hurry toward it, chirping excitedly, "Big Daddy. Baby and Daddy are here. Just got a message from the driver. The car's already downstairs." Jack, about to head out and pick them up, couldn't help but smile as his little boy came toddling toward him, cheeks bobbing with each unsteady step. He crouched down, arms open. Little rascal charged straight into the big dad's broad embrace. The crowd fell silent, all eyes fixed on the heartwarming father and son moment unfolding before them. Since when does the Chi's eldest son have a kid this big? I didn't pay much attention to the suddenly weird atmosphere, striding straight up to Jack, dressed in a suit and tie, his hair slicked back completely to reveal a smooth, broad forehead. His sharp brows and piercing eyes, usually half hidden under bangs, were now fully exposed under the bright white light, looking nothing like his usual softly smiling, gentlemanly self. This version of him was striking, dangerously handsome. I stared for a few seconds, then quickly spoke up as he went to pick Levi up. "Jack, he just got down from me. don't go lifting him again, or he'll start expecting everyone to carry him. Jack, hearing that, gave Levi a little squeeze and ruffled his fluffy hair, then thought better of lifting him up. He stood and just looked at me, steady and silent. You're here. No duh. I pulled a small box from my pocket and handed it over. Here's your gift. No complaining allowed. Jack looked a bit stunned for a moment, then broke into a smile, took the box and said, thanks. There's no way I'd dislike it. I cherish it so much already. Then he asked softly, can I open it now? I snorted, my voice rising slightly. Whatever, it's yours now. Open it whenever you want. Under my gaze, Jack opened the box and saw the neatly folded red and black striped tie inside, falling silent for a long moment. As I opened my mouth to ask what he meant, he snapped the box shut again. His narrow, upturned black eyes curved with amusement as he lifted his gaze to mine, smiling. Daniel, he said, voice smooth and teasing, I'm thrilled. You seem to have delivered yourself right into my hands, his eyes brimming with tenderness, like a pool of rippled spring water, drowning me in a dizzy haze. Levi didn't care about missing out on a hug from Big Dad. He was already grabbing one leg each, clinging to both dads and looking up at them with bright, sparkly eyes as they gazed at each other, stifled a smirk. Dad's totally drooling over Big Daddy again. Pathetic, just pathetic. Bro, you two gazing at each other like that? Kinda gives me goosebumps. Damn. A light, teasing female voice drifted down from above. My soul snapped back into my body, and I instinctively looked up. A strikingly cool and beautiful face, faintly smiling, looked down at me. The vice president, Jack's younger sister Isabella, Levi's mom from the future, my future wife. Her hair was swept up, her jawline smooth and flawless. She hadn't lost any of her beauty from this angle, and now she wore a playful smile, with a face that bore a striking resemblance to Jack. My heart's pounding. Auntie Isabella. Levi missed you so much. Where's your wife, Auntie Evelyn? A bright, childish voice from right beside my feet snapped my racing heart back into place. Third floor room. Levi, why did you just call me Auntie? And how do you even know Evelyn's name? Isabella plopped Levi onto her lap, her narrow eyes narrowing further into lazy slits, voice dripping with amused drawl. She'd never told anyone she was currently in a long-distance relationship with Evelyn, let alone that it was an international one. Even her brother Jack only knew she liked girls, but had no idea who the actual person was. And now this kid popping out of nowhere, looking just like my cousin, and acting awfully similar to Daniel, who's currently glued to the other end of the couch with my cousin, actually knows about it. That's kinda wild. Ever since Jack brought Isabella and me into this room, I've been in a daze, watching Levi, sitting on Isabella's lap and casually draping his arm around her neck, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Isabella is a lesbian? Or, wait, bisexual. Levi absolutely adored his pretty cousin aunt, who'd often take him out to play with her big, white, fluffy dog. Hearing Isabella's question, Daniel replied without hesitation, you're Big Dad's sister, so it's only right for the kid to call you Auntie. And you're the one who told me Evelyn's name. Back then, you said. Levi, this is Auntie's wife, just like how Dad is Big Dad's wife. Her name is Evelyn, so you can call her Auntie Goo from now on. Back then, Auntie Isabella told Baby exactly this. Levi, this is my wife, just like how your dad is Big Daddy's wife. Her name is Evelyn, so you can call her Auntie Goo. Then she went moi, and kissed Evelyn right on the lips, who was sitting there all flustered with red cheeks, just like how Big Daddy hugs and kisses Dad. The air hung silent for a long, awkward beat. Levi, you little brat, what on earth are you even talking about? I shot up to my feet immediately. Kids watch too much TV and just make things up. Don't take it seriously. He scooped up the kid and bolted for the door, desperate to get out of this mess. I really wanted to run, only I couldn't move a step, because Jack had somehow already stepped in front of me without me noticing. His eyes slowly flicked between me and the kid peeking over my shoulder, face pressed down. A look of deep thought. My gut screamed alarm in an instant, but on the outside, I forced a faint smile, desperately trying to appear calm and collected. But an unconscious swallow betrayed his tension. Then I quickly heard Jack declare, as if hammering the final nail, Levi's from the future. My eyelid was twitching like crazy, and even though I was already panicking out of my mind, I still forced a shaky laugh. Jack, you're really reaching now, coming from the future? What are you even talking about? But Jack shook his head at me and gently lifted Levi off my shoulder, setting him down as the little one squirmed. Levi gazed at him with pure admiration. Wow, Big Daddy's amazing. He acts like he's never even told Big Daddy that he's from the future. Jack ruffled the kid's hair with a big hand, then turned back to me, calmly laying out the evidence that he wasn't just making things up. Actually, I thought it was kind of weird right from the start, when Levi first saw me and just naturally called me Big Daddy. Then later, when I took him to my company, he acted like he already knew my business partners. Before I could even introduce them, he went ahead and greeted each one by name. When we went to my regular apartment outside, Levi walked in like he'd lived there forever. He even knew exactly how many potted plants were on my balcony. Pointing at the nearly dead cactus, exclaimed in surprise, "This is the cactus you, Big Daddy, killed, isn't it?" And before this, Jack was dead certain he'd never let slip, even a little, to the kid or his dad Daniel, that he had a sad-looking cactus living in his apartment. And yet, Levi, who moved freely everywhere else, would always politely knock or say, "Baby's coming in, okay?" Before entering his bedroom, even if the door was wide open, Jack found it strange at the time and asked. So the kid blurted out, "Because Dad doesn't want Baby to see you two kissing." Hearing those words, he was utterly shocked back then. Jack grew increasingly suspicious. Levi was hiding something, and Daniel might be too. It was only now that he finally felt certain. It's unbelievable, I know, but this is the most logical explanation. Levi, tell me, am I right? You're from the future, and we're family later on, aren't we? Levi nodded vigorously. Yes, Big Daddy. Dad always tells me not to tell you that Baby's from the future. He says weird people might snatch me up and dissect my brain. Jack had already figured it out. Every time Levi slipped up, he'd sneak a cautious glance at Jack's expression. And seeing that Jack didn't press further, the kid would relax again. Must have been taught by Daniel, the dad. Wait a sec, Isabella suddenly chimed in, having been quietly in the background this whole time. So Levi's your future son with Daniel, huh? Like, you two actually had him together? Man, male pregnancy is kinda amazing when you think about it. What? Male pregnancy? You're telling me I'm gonna have a kid with Jack in the future? No way, not happening, even if the sky falls down. No way in hell, I shot back, loud and firm. Jack stayed silent. Levi looks like you, and he also resembles my brother. He's literally a genetic mashup of both of you. Don't even try telling me he's just one of your kids. He calls you Dad and me Big Daddy. Come on, that screams ABO family trio. Isabella stroked her chin, wearing that weirdly confident expression again. She added, besides, if time travel can happen, why can't men giving birth? It's not like there aren't real cases of that. Compared to something super sketchy like time travel, male pregnancy is way more believable. Come on, Levi even looks like you, so how can you be sure he's not actually your kid? I was practically seething, yanking Levi, still dazed by the whole scene. Over to me. Levi, you tell me right now, who exactly gave birth to you? Levi blinked and blurted out, you gave birth to me, Daddy. Two piercing stares locked onto him. I took a deep breath, speaking slowly and deliberately. Did I give birth to you myself? Levi mimicked me in that little kid voice of his. Wait, okay, why? Then why didn't you tell me back then, when I asked about my future wife, that I wouldn't have a wife at all, but a husband instead? But Daddy, you have a wife and a husband. Baby's heard you call Big Daddy both wife and husband lots of times, so turns out, whether it's wife or husband, it's the same person all along. And hey, if we're being technical here, I'm actually the one who can be the pregnant wife, the male version. Obviously, I still clung to the tiniest shred of hope as I asked, how can you be so sure you're really my child? Levi replied obediently, Big Daddy said you got a faint scar on your belly from giving birth to me. And I even sneaked a touch when you were asleep, lifting up your shirt. Back then, Baby thought, Daddy was amazing, actually keeping such a big baby like me in that tiny tummy for so long without it bursting. Unlike Baby, who feels like the little belly's gonna pop after just 2 bowls of rice. No way Daddy could fit inside at all. I froze, completely stunned, my mind blank. The little rascal hooked his tiny finger into my dangling hand, speaking with heartfelt sincerity. Dad, thank you for bringing me into this world. I'll give you so much love from now on. Just as much as Big Dad gives you. My eyes suddenly stung, welled up, got all red and blurry. What even was this? Something messed up, yet weirdly heartwarming. The day after Jack's birthday party, the three of us arrived at the Chi family's private hospital. The DNA results came back. Levi really is Jack's and my son. Everything settled, but my mind went completely blank. Sat on the stool, dazed, for quite a while. I have no idea how to face Jack anymore. Me, a full-grown man, actually ending up with another guy, and unbelievably giving birth to a kid for him. I mean, come on. Then, completely out of the blue, less than 10 minutes after the results came out, Levi suddenly turned deathly pale and broke into a cold sweat. Daniel and Jack stared in shock. Pulling him close, my voice trembled with panic. Levi, what's wrong? Don't scare me like this. Jack shouted the name of his doctor friend, panic rising in his voice. When our doctor friend rushed over in a panic from another department, Levi's complexion had improved. Just slightly. He seemed to realize something, and said to me and Jack with reluctant tenderness, Dad, Big Dad, I'm okay. Your little boy's just going back to the future. Dad, Big Dad, and William, goodbye. Your little one will be waiting for you in the future. The three of us, me, Jack, and William, could only watch in shock as, right after Levi spoke those words, a glowing blue vortex suddenly appeared out of nowhere, pulling his small body toward it, then vanishing completely, both him and the whirlpool, in an instant. Took just 3 seconds. I froze, staring at the spot where the vortex had vanished, unable to pull myself together. I don't even remember when William left. Jack sat down in the seat beside me. After a long silence, he finally spoke, voice strained. Daniel, do you like guys? Or to be more precise, do you have any feelings for me? I slowly turned my head to look at him, staring blankly at his unusually serious face. A flood of memories surged through my mind. Every little thing he'd done for me over the past month. Lips trembling, he stood there for a long moment. No words came out at all. But Jack looked at me, and suddenly he laughed, as if he'd seized the one lifeline that could pull him from a burning inferno. He suddenly lunged at me, face inches from mine, and whispered, Daniel, you do have feelings for me. Perfect. I've got feelings for you, and only for you. Let's give it a try. Levi's so damn cute. If we don't fight for this, there won't be a future with him. Ever since I turned 22, this guy has been obedient to me during the day, but at night, he turns into a beast, still clutching that banner about bringing Levi into the world on schedule, leaving me completely speechless. Finally, all that hard work paid off. Miracles do happen. 2 months later, I was pregnant. That day, staring at the test results in my hands, I burst into tears. Jack, Levi's back with us again. Jack gently pulled me into his arms and brushed a soft kiss against my forehead. Said softly, yeah, it's gonna be tough from here on out, sweetheart, but I'll always have your back, take care of you every step of the way, and together, we'll welcome the little miracle we made with love.